So this is going to be Amber's day 4.
I think. So you wore the beeper yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. And any questions, comments about the beeper, things like that?
No.
Okay.
And any questions or comments about the whole process?
Yeah, I wrote one down. I was just wondering, okay, so I was thinking about this. Can misremembering the context of the situation mess up the experience as recalled when we're doing the questioning? I was just curious about that.
So everything is possible to misremember.
Okay.
So I wouldn't rule out anything. The context, as I would say as a general rule, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So misremembering the context is not as important as misremembering the experience, but it's hard to know in the abstract.
Right.
Do we have a particular sample where that might be an issue?
No. I was just thinking about that because I wasn't wearing the beeper in one of these days, but I was just like reflecting on like sometimes just on my own I would misremember it's easier because I'm writing it down, but like if I'm not writing it down I misremember the sequence of my day. So I was like, oh, like could that mess up like if I was
Well, that is why we write things down.
right.
Because we believe that people don't recall things veridically as a general rule. If you write something down, that pretty much constrains you.
Yeah.
If you say I was doing this and then I was doing that and then you wrote it down at the time,
Mhm.
it's pretty hard to argue against that later on.
Right.
So,
Okay.
I mean, it's still not perfect.
still not perfect,
But,
that's
right.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all. I was just wondering.
All right, 4.1.
Oh, okay. So for the first beat, so this is kind of like the setting. I was watching a show on my iPad, and it's like a live stream, so I can't like rewind it. So, but it was a commercial, so I wasn't really paying attention to what was on the screen. But I was sitting, kind of like my posture wasn't the best, and I was like stretching my neck, and right before the beep went off, I was thinking about a conversation I had the day before about neck position, because my friend had like raised the computer screens. He only raised, like, it's a dual monitor computer, and he raised one screen, and he said, oh, I always raise it because it's better for your neck. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, how funny, because now my neck hurts today. But yeah, I was just thinking about that conversation when the beep went off. But I wasn't thinking any specific words or anything like that. I was just thinking about, like, how we had just had that conversation the day before, and here I am. Does that make sense?
So is this to say I'm not directly recalling the conversation, but I'm thinking about the
Yes.
coincidence between the conversation and today?
Yeah.
So the thought process is about the coincidence, not the conversation directly. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And and you haven't used the word coincidence, that's my word, but I'm gathering that's what...
Yeah, it was kind of, yeah. I wouldn't say the word coincidence to me was present, but that was kind of the mood. It was kind of like, oh, that's coincidental that
You talked
we
about
just
that.
had that situation, and then here I am
Okay.
with neck pain.
Okay. And I'm gathering this is not about words. The word neck isn't there, the word pain isn't there, the word
No.
neck yesterday isn't there,
No.
your friend. And is it about pictures? Do you see a neck, see anything? Is this a visual experience?
No, I don't see a neck. I don't see anything like that. I do visualize, though, like we were sitting in the office, and the way we sit, we have a computer on one table, and then we have a computer on the other table. So we sit, he sits one way and I sit one way when we're working together. So I was like recalling, kind of like looking at him sideways and having this conversation.
And is that present at the moment of the beep?
Yeah.
And so there's a visualization of the scene?
Yeah, the scene in which the conversation took place, and that was accompanied by like the tension in my neck because I was like stretching it so I could feel the tension. But I would say neither was more present than the other. They were both kind of like barely. They weren't like one. It's not like one was super clear, the other was super clear. It was just kind of like they were both kind of there, but it was kind of like fuzzy.
So there are three things ongoing at this particular moment, is that right?
Yeah.
So what I've got by three is, I'm thinking about the coincidence or whatever,
Mhm.
that's a thought process.
Yeah.
That doesn't have any words in it.
No.
At the same time, I visualize, I innerly see
Mhm.
the place where this conversation took place.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I feel something in my neck.
Yeah, the tension. There, and these were all kind of like, it was very interesting because these were all kind of like very, no one was extremely clear. They were all just kind of there.
And is one there more than another?
No.
So it would be just as good to say, at the moment of the beep, I was feeling something in my neck, and at the same time, I was thinking about this conversation.
Mhm.
Or to say, at the moment of the beep, I was thinking about this conversation, and at the same time, I was feeling something in my neck.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
So these are three separable strands, equally present, and none of them gripping your attention more than the other.
No.
And so while we're on the topic of the visualization, tell me exactly what you see.
I see, it's like from my perspective, what I would be seeing. So it was him sitting in the room that we work in together. We had been working together the day before. And he was sitting at a computer on a desk.
So I'm not so much interested in what happened
Oh.
yesterday, I'm interested in
What I see?
in what you see.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay. So I see him sitting, like, angled, and, because that's how the conversation was happening. And the two screens, and he's just, like, turned towards me. talking.
So he's more or less looking at you,
Yeah.
but he's turned around to do it.
Yeah, he's turned away from the computer.
And does this seem like a motion, like a moving scene, or is this like
No.
a picture of the
It's like it's just like yeah, there's
a
nothing
frame out of a
happening.
video or something like that?
Yeah, and it's not like anything in it was clear. It was just like, I could see that, and it was my understanding of that was what it was.
Okay.
Like, if I had to draw it for you, you probably would have no idea what it looked like, if that makes sense.
So it was a seeing, not just a knowing of what the geometry is.
No, yeah, it was a seeing, but it wasn't a very clear seeing.
Okay. Clear enough that for you can say, well, this is the guy, and this is
Mhm.
the monitor, and this is the table, and
Mhm,
whatever.
mhm.
And those are seen,
Yeah.
not just known, well, I know the guy was there, and I know the monitor was there, and whatever.
No, yeah, that was like a seeing of like it was almost like, I would describe it like a blurry painting. It was just
In color, black and white?
color.
In color.
And again, blurry as in visually, I'm seeing a blurry image, not I'm filling in the blanks here and I'm only seeing a part of it, or
No, yeah,
things
like a
I'm
blurry image,
seeing a blurry
yeah.
image.
And then at the same time, with more or less equal prominence, I feel the pain in my neck,
Yeah.
stretching, compression or whatever in my neck.
Yeah, just like a slight tension, slight stretch kind of feeling.
And you're pointing to this side of my neck, is that?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was like, well, yeah, it was like the back kind of area.
And is that clear? So this is a sensory apprehension of tension in my neck.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
And that brought on the very blurry, very low quality image.
Okay. And is the feeling in my neck blurry and low quality, or is it, I feel a clear
No,
tension?
I would say low quality as well. And then the remembering of the conversation while the visualization was happening, that was also very low quality too. Like, because there's so many things happening, it just felt like all of it was very low quality. Like, none really stood out, but they were all there.
And these things all seem to be caught in flight by the leading edge of the beep, is that true?
Yeah, like the beep kind of distracted me from all of that stuff. So like, had the beep not happened, well, I mean, I'd want to predict, but if the beep hadn't happened, I feel like the phenomenon would have lasted longer. But because the beep happened, it kind of all stopped, and I was like, oh.
But what my question is about I'm asking whether you're confident that these were all present simultaneously at the moment.
Oh, yes.
So if we could somehow take a mental snapshot, we would see these three aspects.
Yes.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good as well.
Okay, number 2.
Okay, so I was watching Law and Order SVU, and there was a part where the main character, Olivia, she is talking to like I think she's like 14, she's like a victim, she's like 14-year-old, and she's with her partner, and the other detective, she's kind of like asking the girl questions that are making her uncomfortable, and she kind of is, so Olivia tries to break up the situation by being like, I think this detective doesn't understand you because her children are really young. So the other detective leaves, and Olivia's there with the victim, and the victim goes, so what, are your kids in college? And Olivia goes, you know what, let's talk about you. Because the audience knows her son is young. She has like a young son. So at the moment of the beep, I was thinking these words, that was a good left turn, in quotes, because that's a reference to a previous episode where a character says that to Olivia. I was just thinking that.
And it's those exact words, that was a good left turn?
Mm-hmm.
Not like, it'd be better if it was a good left turn or something? Okay.
Mm-hmm. No, because, yeah, the words, it was like a reference to a previous episode.
Gotcha. And is that your reference to a past episode, or had this been said?
That
at
was
some
said
point?
in a previous episode, and I was like referencing it because that was exactly what happened. Yeah.
And so, how were those words present?
I feel more confident that they're like spoken, like if I were saying them, but I don't hear them in my voice, but they're being like produced.
Okay. And when you say produced, is this a, and I want to leave all these options open, like a speaking sort of deal, like I'm like somehow I'm making these words, or this is a purely like auditory thing, I'm hearing this,
Like
or something else, you know,
like
or
I'm
none of
making,
those.
like I'm making the words, but like I don't hear them. Like when I'm speaking to you, I hear them. I hear words in my voice, but when these words are produced, I don't hear them. But they're produced.
So it's mostly me producing these words somehow.
Yeah, but without any auditory component.
Okay. And is it all these words at once? Like this is a,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
somehow,
a-
right? I know, like in reality, you'd be talking them out loud, right? But this
Yeah.
is a kind
It's
of
a-
that whole statement. It's not like it's the beep sketching me in the middle of saying good or something.
No, it was a whole phrase because it's a
So can I ask a question about
Yeah.
about the producing? So I understand you're saying that you're producing these words, and you don't, and it's not an auditory experience. I understand that. But I would like to know, is the producing in the manner of speaking? Like except for the fact that I don't hear it, it seems like I'm speaking these words, or am I producing the words in some other manner that would not be speaking? Like I could imagine I'm throwing the words out there. Or,
Oh. No, I would say it's like I'm speaking it because like, yeah.
so this has the phenomena of speaking without any auditory phenomena.
Yeah.
Are we confident about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I'm good too.
And is there anything else going on in your experience at this moment?
No. No. Not like, no. I was watching the screen, but that wasn't in my experience.
And that was a good left turn is a reference to a previous episode.
Yeah.
And is that present to you at the moment of the beep, or is it, that's the context, that's why I'm saying this.
Yeah.
But in my experience, when I'm saying, well, that's a good left turn, and that's,
Yeah, I was just saying that, yeah, that's where the phrase came from, because it was a reference, yeah. The episode wasn't there, the scene wasn't there, none of that.
And are there any vocal characteristics of this? Like, that was a good left turn, exclamation point, or that was a good left turn, or,
Oh. No, just like a regular statement, as if I wrote it down and put a period at the end of it, but I didn't. Any punctuation wasn't exactly present. It was just me speaking it. Or not speaking it, but producing it, is a better word.
so I got distracted because my
Yeah.
computer
No,
was
that's okay.
acting up for reasons that I don't understand, but that's neither here nor there. So, do these words feel like they're coming one at a time, as if you were speaking them aloud?
Yes, but, well, yes, but they're not separate. Like, in the experience, they're not separate, they're a phrase.
Okay, so I'm speaking a phrase.
Yes, or producing a phrase, I don't want to muddy the waters with my language, because I said speaking. But
So what I would like us to, what I'm still, I guess I'm not sure about is, does it seem to me, which is to you, does it seem to me like I am speaking those words, even though I don't hear them? Or does it seem to me that I'm producing them in some way other than speaking?
oh, it's like I'm speaking them, but I don't hear them. So I can call that speaking, right?
I think so.
Okay.
We can refine it later on and maybe on a subsequent beep or whatever. If we find, well, there's some other way that this is not the same as speaking, that might occur to us.
Yeah.
And we would be interested in that. It's not like we have to put it into a category and say,
Right.
well, that's inner speaking, we can wrap that up in a bow and forget about it.
Right.
We would like to know if there's some kind of inner experience that is close to speaking, but not exactly the same, if there is such a thing.
Right. Yeah, I just didn't want to like misspeak and then like make it more confusing.
Onward?
Yep.
Number 3.
So number 3, while I'm watching all these things, I have many screens on. So on one screen I had seen like a text and it was asking for someone's email, but I was physically logging into Canvas on my phone, trying to check something, and when the beep went off, well, right before the beep went off, I was kind of like, because I saw the text, this is all well before. I saw the text, and I was kind of like, deciding what I should do first, but at the moment of the beep, I was kind of like, let me do what I have to do, and then I was looking at the screen with Canvas on my phone. That was it.
So let me do what I have to do. Is that caught in flight by the beep?
That,
So that's slightly before the beep.
yeah, and it was the seeing of the Canvas screen, of whatever was happening.
So a second or half a second or something before the beep, I think to myself, let me do what I have to do. I look at the Canvas screen on my phone,
Mhm. And then the beep was
and the beep occurs at the...
Yes.
So what's directly in your experience at the moment of the beep?
seeing the Canvas screen, like seeing the screen on my phone.
And that's a real seeing, that's not an...
Yeah,
imaginary
physical,
seeing. This is, I'm
yeah.
seeing the actual screen.
Yeah, a physical.
And am I paying attention to some particular aspect of it, or just...
No, just the whole screen. The logging in screen.
And I presume I'm going to log in?
Yeah.
But that hasn't started yet?
No, like it's like the sign in, it says like sign in. It's like that screen, that was on the screen.
And are you aware that this is the sign-in screen, or is it more, is it not even that content-oriented?
No, it's not that content. It was just the screen, seeing the Canvas screen. I'm aware that it's Canvas, but I'm not aware that it's specifically sign in.
So what I think I understand is I'm seeing this screen, and it's fair to say I'm seeing the Canvas screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair to say that I have differentiated that to say I see the Canvas sign-in screen, but yet I know myself to be seeing the Canvas screen.
Yeah.
And everything else that we've talked about is context. I got a lot of monitors on, I'm
Yeah.
watching this, and
Yeah.
so the monitors really don't have anything to do with my experience. At the moment of
No.
the beep, I'm seeing my phone
Yes.
screen,
Yes.
and I'm presumably holding my phone,
Yes.
and is that in my experience?
No, the holding of it is not.
So there's quite a bit of stuff that's going on in my experience, in
Or my
excuse me, in my
environment.
environment,
Yeah.
my bodily environment, my surrounding environment,
Uh-huh.
all of which I'm not paying attention to. What I'm paying attention to is the appearance onto my screen,
Mm-hmm.
is the appearance of the canvas screen.
Yeah, and yeah, it wasn't, I'm just saying that it was the science screen because that's what it is, but in my experience, it was like, I'm looking at canvas, and this is, well, not like the words, but I'm seeing canvas.
Seeing canvas,
Physic-
seeing
physically.
canvas appear.
Yeah, physically, no words, none of that,
And do I see the phone as well, or is it just the screen on the phone?
just the screen on the phone, not the, but it's like, but what I'm seeing is obviously it's in the barriers, because the phone is only so big and the screen ends, but yeah, not the phone itself, nothing else on the outside.
As far as my experience is concerned, I am seeing the appearance of the canvas screen. And does
Yeah.
that seem clear? Like I see
Yes.
I see it accurately and
Yes,
differentiatedly or whatever?
yes, yes.
And it is a canvas screen, but that's not what I really am noticing about it.
Well, I'm noticing that it's canvas, I'm not noticing that it's the sign-in screen,
Okay.
but yeah,
Even though I'm seeing it clearly.
yes.
I see it clearly, but it doesn't yet appeal to me to realize that it's the sign-in screen.
Yeah, it's just that it's canvas.
Okay. No, I think I'm good.
I'm good. All right, beat 4.
Okay, beat 4, so show's back on, so I'm watching Law and Order SVU again, and the detective gets a text message that the person is missing. So what I see, this is another like physical seeing, that she gets up out of her chair to go and deal with it. And that was kind of it. Like, there was no thinking of me, it was just that she's getting up out of her chair. That's what I saw.
And so you're back watching on the iPad as context. This is back
Yeah.
on the iPad? Okay.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so tell me again what you're seeing. You're seeing the detective get...
Yeah, she like is she is standing up from her chair to go and whatever the next part of the show was going to be.
And is there any particular part of this that I'm seeing? Like, am I drawn to, like, you know, the color or something, or is this just I'm seeing this scene?
I'm drawn to her action of standing because, and just kind of like the surrounding area around her, because there's another person, like actually in the scene. He was like standing to the side, but like that wasn't, I was paying attention to him. I was paying attention to the fact that she was standing up.
And so by paying attention, is just I'm looking at her versus I'm looking at
The whole thing.
the whole thing. So
yeah.
it's actually I'm watching Olivia, was it, get up out of
Oh,
her...
it's a different character.
Oh, okay, I'm watching the detective get up out of the chair.
Yeah.
As part of a larger scene.
Yes,
Okay.
and like my focus was on this one person standing up.
And is that in motion?
Yeah. But she doesn't ever, like, in my experience, she never gets to the full standing. She's like in the halfway.
middle.
Yeah.
Okay. And is this scene clear
Yes.
in color? I'm presuming
Yeah.
it's like in the.
Mhm.
And she gets only halfway up because the beep interrupts you, or?
Yeah. Yeah. Like what I was seeing is she was in the action of standing up. And then the scene of the show was also ending, but like that was well after, but yeah, I don't remember anything after that. Or like that's beyond.
So I'm understanding that there's a lot of stuff going on the screen, of which a portion of it is her standing up,
Yeah.
and you're not interested in the other portion.
No, I'm not interested in the other man standing there.
And is your interest, is what you would thematize this, is of the standing up, or is it of her Or is it, I'm just watching what's going on the screen, and what's going on the screen is she standing up?
I'm just watching what's going on and she's standing up.
So I'm watching, it would be fair to say I'm watching TV, I'm
Mhm.
accurately zoomed on this half of the screen, basically.
Yeah.
But I'm watching the action that's unfolding on TV, and that action is, she's standing up.
Yeah, yeah. That moment of the actual show was kind of like a whatever. It wasn't like it was anything that interesting. It was kind of like a transition, so that's all I was looking at.
And is there anything else in your experience?
No.
Even, I'm assuming, like, there may have been music playing or
Yeah.
sound or something, like, fact of the universe, right? There's all that, but not.
Not like present to me.
Okay.
All right, then I'm good. Number 5.
Okay, so beat 5, I was looking at a Twitter video, and the caption on the video said, why don't I remember this? And the video was taken by someone I know, and the video was just starting, and the beep happened. I was kind of wondering if that was the person's video, like the girl I know, her video, because it was just starting, and I didn't get a chance to look at it. So yeah, I was kind of that thinking of, is that this person's video? Like, looks like it.
And let's give this person a name, doesn't have to be her actual name, we can, whatever we want to call her.
Jasmine.
And so at the moment of the beep, is it fair to say that your experience is primarily, is this Jasmine's video?
Yeah.
And the rest of it is more or less context.
Yeah.
I'm watching a video begin,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing it, no doubt, but my interest, my center of my attention is, I'm wondering whether this is Jasmine's video.
Yeah, and it was like more of a, it wasn't those exact words either. It was kind of more of a cognitive thinking, trying to figure out if that was a video.
So there aren't any words involved at all, including the word video and including the real name, but what we're calling Jasmine?
The real name was there. The real name was there, and that's pretty much it. But everything else was kind of more like.
So what we're calling Jasmine is there.
Yeah.
It wasn't really Jasmine, it was
No.
whatever the real person is,
Yeah.
what we'll call it Jasmine.
Yeah.
And how is Jasmine there?
It's just her name.
Spoken, seen, heard, known to be present?
Known to be present. Because I wasn't. Yeah.
So I don't see it, I don't see the name Jasmine, I don't hear the name Jasmine, I don't speak the name Jasmine.
Mm-mm.
And yet I somehow, it's not just, is this Jasmine's video, it's somehow the word Jasmine is present while I think, is this Jasmine's video?
Yeah, like that was the bigger focus of the whole thing. Like, and it's also, I guess, video too. It was Jasmine's video rather than just, but.
So the word video is present or not?
It is, but not as much as Jasmine.
So I'm thinking in a way that is more than non-worded, but less than fully worded.
Yeah.
And the Jasmine is more on the fully side, and the video is less on the fully side.
Yeah.
But so far I'm understanding, and I'm trying to find out whether this is true, so far I'm understanding that, is this Jasmine's video? It's not the case that Jasmine and video are part of that sentence. It's not like that sentence is present. So we had a sentence earlier on.
I was wondering if this is, I wonder if this is Jasmine's video. But no, those words weren't present. It was more of a.
That was a good left turn before.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good left turn. I understood you to be saying those particular words were present. That was a good left turn.
Yes.
And it seemed like they were present as a bulk. It was a good left turn rather than one word and then followed by another word, then followed by another word. I understood
Yes.
that. But those words were present so that good was present as a part of the phrase "good left turn."
Yes.
And I understand you not to be saying that yet. Maybe we're going to get there, but it's not like Jasmine is present as, is that Jasmine's video in the same way as left would have been part of
Oh.
a good left turn.
I understand. No, because this was more of, I would say, a cognitive process of thinking rather than me speaking. But like the words Jasmine's, like it was just it was Jasmine, and then video because that was the topic of the thinking, but it wasn't like the word Jasmine.
So this was not the producing of words as in speaking, which is what we decided that last
Yeah.
lesson.
No, it's not that.
This is a cognitive wondering.
Yeah, but the focus was on Jasmine
And somehow the word Jasmine is more present than some of the other, out of this
Ideas.
cognitive idea, the word Jasmine is somehow present,
Yes.
and the word video is somehow present, but not as much.
Yeah.
But mostly it's a thinking process, cognitive process,
Yeah.
that doesn't primarily involve words.
No.
And is anything else in your experience?
No. And the reason that Jasmine is present, I mean, this is more context, but the reason that Jasmine is present more than anything is because if this was anybody else's video, I probably wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. So that's why that's why in this experience, like when the beep happened to go off, Jasmine was still present.
And is it the word Jasmine that is present? Are we talking about the word Jasmine? Or
No. It's, well, I want to say like the idea of Jasmine.
the idea of Jasmine as a person rather than Jasmine as a name?
Yes. Yes, I probably was very unclear about that earlier, but yes.
So I am thinking in a cognitive, unworded way, is this Jasmine's video? And somehow the notion of Jasmine, the person, is present to me,
Mm-hmm.
sort of along with that thinking,
Mm-hmm.
not as an aspect of that thinking, but, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And the notion of a video is somehow present as well, is that right?
Yeah.
And not the word video, but the
No. But the idea of,
idea of video.
because yeah, that's what it was.
So let me see whether I understand, whether I'm understanding it. I'm wondering in a cognitive way, is this Jasmine's video?
Mm-hmm.
And along with that, but not just a part of it, I am somehow encountering Jasmine.
Yeah. It's
And-
like I think this was last week how I said that there are things that were a lot stronger than other things. Like Jasmine was the strongest portion of this idea, and then video was there, but it wasn't as strong as Jasmine. And the cognitive thinking was, is this Jasmine's video?
And are those three kind of separate things, or is this sort of just the...
The idea is like the thinking that was there was, is this Jasmine's video? But the strongest portion of it was Jasmine. And then video, I would also say, was up there. But then the rest of it was kind of like in the weeds, as we said before. Like it was just kind of in the weeds.
But it's the idea of Jasmine, not necessarily the word Jasmine or
Yeah.
the word video. This is more just...
The idea of this person, Jasmine.
I'm good.
Okay. And then beep 6.
Okay. So I was now watching the next Law and Order, which is organized crime. And the two, like, texts in that show, they kind of like each other. So in the scene, there's all context, in the scene, the girl Jet, she goes to the guy's house and she brings him, like, a gift. And she's knocking on the door and she calls him Adam. And I was thinking to myself, this is before the beep ball, I was thinking to myself, is his name Adam Malachi? And then at the moment of the beep, I was kind of like, almost like laughing at myself. I don't know if I was physically laughing at myself, but I was kind of like mentally laughing at myself because that's not wrong, and that is wrong. That's wrong, and I should have known that that was not it. So that's kind of what happened in the beep, was me kind of like, ha ha ha, you're so wrong. But those words aren't present. It's just
Okay.
kind of like the feeling of like that was dumb.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so is this more like a cognitive analytical sort of deal, maybe similar to the last beep, or is this like a feeling, like it's not so much analytical as it is I'm just kind of I'm feeling, laughing to myself, I'm humoring myself or something like that, or
It's cognitive analytical because I was going back on a thought I had like milliseconds before. That was very wrong.
So I want to be, I don't want to talk you into that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be analytical, right? It can be a
Yeah.
reaction to something that,
Yeah.
right, or
Oh.
whatever. You know, I don't know whatever was there is what.
Yeah.
Mostly my question is like, is this when you say laughing to yourself, how
Like-
is that?
Yeah. I guess
Present.
that's a reaction. The laughing at myself was a reaction, but I would say that was more thinking because it was like, no, and then the reaction was laughing at myself.
And so is that? You said you weren't sure whether you were physically like laughing.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that.
Not sure. Okay. Is
So can I make
Yeah.
sure we got the timing down here?
Mm-hmm.
So at the leading edge of the beep,
Mm-hmm.
time is going on like this, I'm watching the show, she says Adam, I think to myself, is his name Adam Malachi?
Mhm.
And the beep comes in here somewhere. What does the beep catch in flight, right?
The beep catches like my reaction to my thought being wrong.
And by my reaction,
It's like the laughing at myself.
so I say, is that Adam Malachi? And I laugh at myself and the beep happens.
Yeah. Like that's wrong, ha ha ha. I would say that's wrong, like right, like.
That's wrong out here.
Yeah, and then the reaction is what the beep catches.
And so that's wrong would be cognitive. I'm just
Oh,
thinking about that.
yes.
But the moment of the beep is catching me
In a reaction.
in a reaction which is not particularly cognitive, but the result of a cognitive. This is now
Yes.
I'm laughing at myself.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the best way to describe that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And so our task is to figure out what the laughing of yourself phenomenon is about.
Okay.
yeah, and I would actually pick it up from there. How like? Is there any way to say how that's present?
Yeah, because I don't know if I was doing it physically, but in my mind, I was laughing at myself.
And is that to say like I'm hearing myself laughing? I
want to call it a feeling. Like I feel like I'm laughing at myself.
and feeling like affectively or like sensory, like a physical sensation.
Yeah. Like it kind of lifted my mood because I was laughing at myself.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. Like, so there's something like affective, like a feeling about this, and feeling meaning like emotion, not like a, you know, physically feeling something or sensorily feeling something.
No, I wouldn't say I was physically feeling
Okay.
anything. Or at least what I could catch. I wasn't physically feeling anything.
So can I ask a couple of questions here?
Yeah.
I'm laughing at myself, that's what we're,
Yeah, the reaction to the cognitive process.
and I'm not sure whether I'm laughing at myself really out loud or not. Is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah, I don't know.
And is that to say it doesn't matter whether it's out loud, it's the same thing, I feel like I'm laughing at myself. I'm laughing at myself, period. It doesn't matter whether it's out loud or not.
Yes.
Okay. And the laughing, I gather, is to some degree critical, but not negatively critical. It's like I should have known that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And that's inherent in the kind of laughing. There's not like a thought process that says, well, I should have known that. But instead, the laughing, it's the kind of laughing that goes along with, well, I should have known that.
Yeah, that's what the I should have known that happened before, and then I would say the result is the laughing, like you said, the second time.
And I think Cody asked this question, and then I got distracted because my phone went off with the. So does this feel like a physical thing? I feel myself physically laughing?
No, but I would say I felt my mood getting lifted. But I don't know if you can feel a mood getting lifted, like, externally. Like I felt, I don't know.
So in a mood kind of a way, I
Yeah.
feel a lifting mood.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything more to say about that? Is that a bodily thing? Is there a physical part of that?
I don't, not that I could catch.
So the laughing at myself is that was stupid, but not in a negative way. It's the kind of a thing like I'm sort of happy with myself. It cheers me up to have said a silly thing or something like that.
Yeah, it was kind of like, what is my brain doing? Because that was so very not, it was so not correct. Like, it just was like that. It was like, why was that even almost an option to me to be an answer? Because that was so not right. I knew that was not right.
So is there any hint or a lot of self-criticism involved? Is this a self-critical kind of a thing, or is this just a noting with pleasure weirdness thing?
I would say the self-criticism was before with the cognitive, kind of looped in with the cognitive. That was wrong.
And that had a critical.
Yeah. Well, it
System.
wasn't like a negative critical. It was kind of like what are you doing?
Evaluative
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah.
Evaluative critical.
Yeah.
I actually maybe have a question that might clarify this. So is this, trying to find the way to say, is this experience about laughing, or is it about the affect that goes along with, like I think you had said, right, like well, that was silly of me, right? Like, that was like, and I'm just reacting to that, but I'm not laughing. Is laughing there? Is laughing present? Is there something about my experience at the moment of the beat that involves laughing, either innerly or right, whatever? There's something about laughing, or is it the emotion?
The emotion. I would relate the emotion to laughing. Wow.
Something that would go along with me laughing, right?
At myself, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not sure I understood the answer to that question. Is this mostly about the laughing or mostly about the emotion? As far as your experience is concerned.
I think the laughing is how I would describe the emotion.
So
But
the laughing is an embodiment or an experiential.
Yeah, like a reaction.
Experientialization, I guess you would say.
Yes.
The experientialization of the laughing, of the emotional lifting of
My mood.
lighthearted mood kind of a thing.
Yeah, as a reaction. I want to keep the word reaction because it was definitely a reaction to the cognitive that was wrong kind of deal.
And is there anything else in your experience at the moment of the beat? The show or the whatever, anything else?
No. I don't even remember what happened in the show, quite frankly. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to go back and watch that again.
I think I'm good.
I'm good. And that's 6, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So, anything that we should be saying about this before we turn off the cameras?
I don't think so. Is there anything you have for me?
Not that.
Okay.